and you have joined the revolution with EJ and Pete. This is the talk show where BS is king, and it's always from a testicular perspective, because we're a bunch of nuts. Get it? So all you sissies and wussies and sweater vest wearing pussies, you best strap yourselves in, because we're about to get into it. I am the one and only, the illustrious, the great EJ, and with me is my fine feathered friend, the one and only Leprechaun Pete.
And there I am.
It took you a little bit of time there. You're like, what the hell am I doing? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
I am here.
All right.
Last I heard.
I am going to call in at 540-352. I finally fucking remember the number. Did I just curse?
I don't know if you actually call that a curse. No. You didn't say,
anyway,
anything, about people's limbs falling off or anything like that. No.
Did I just curse? Oh, okay, cool. Call in at 540-352-4447 or Skype into the show. Oh, okay, cool. At EJ, what the hell are we? EJ Pete? I don't know. What the hell are we?
The revolution.
EJ Space Pete. Yes. That would be us. EJ Space Pete. That's how you get us. Bingo. There we go. All right. So the show topics for tonight are as follows. Let me see. What do women want when it comes to sex? Don't know. We have the answer. We'll get into that a little later. Why exactly are Walmarts closing where they're conducting Operation Jade Helm? We have the answer to that too. We will discuss the candidates for the Republican ticket tonight, and all this and more fun than watching a group of cops chasing an out-of-control donut rolling down a San Francisco hill. I thought that was pretty good, I gotta say.
Yes. Hey, I don't know if you've seen it. I saw this very quickly just before we started. It was like mere moments before you texted me that we were ready. That I noticed a story that Baltimore, which is in Maryland, has gone insane with like riots and Amish Utes and all kinds of stuff. I didn't get the whole story. I only saw the headline and read a couple of lines, and that was it. You might be able to find it while you're there, maybe on like Drudge or one of the better sites.
I'll check Drudge here. The Drudge report.
But what it seemed like it was pretty big. It was pretty big. So, and while you're checking, I would just like to take this opportunity and welcome some of our newer listeners from Uncle Bob's Diner. Uncle Bob's Diner is one of the greatest internet forums on the face of the planet, where nobody judges you, nobody cares what you say. They're all there for a good time, and sometimes you even get some good information out. And they actually even allow libtards to voice their opinion before they get a beating. So, they don't beat them down immediately. They allow them to, express themselves and say thank you for your opinion, and then give them a verbal beating. So it's just wonderful, So with pictures and photographs and all kinds of different stuff. I mean, these folks are really smart. And most of them are banned people from other sites who shall remain nameless at the moment. But it just seems that most of them were the so-called troublemakers, quote unquote, in these other sites. And as it turns out, they're some of the best posters with some of the most interesting topics and some of the best news gatherers out there. So definitely a place that you can voice your opinion. So if you want to go try it out.
And you may have just heard us talking there. I had to check to make sure we were broadcasting because YouTube is fickle. We'll just leave it at that.
It is YouTube.
So, perusing. We'll get to that. I do see some stuff. Police protests in Baltimore turned violent, developing. Another one we should talk about is the Russian hackers read Obama emails. They're probably like that poor man. That Wookiee beats him daily. So anyway,
it depends on the Russian too. They might be getting all excited about some of his, little hotter emails with Reggie Love.
That's true. Oh wow, yeah, and you wanted to talk about that the Nepalese earthquake and how some religious people are saying it's punishment for God knows what. But anyway, it's definitely good. Pete has told me about this Uncle Bob's Diner. It does definitely sound interesting. He just got involved in that, and I'm definitely going to take a look at that. And it's always good to have some smarmy type people start listening to the show, and and then we like those people to call in. That's always a good thing. We actually have to pay an exorbitant fee to Skype for us to have this. I think it's like $60 a year total. It's a huge amount of money that we pay. So we can have people call in and tell us how wonderful we are. Actually, usually it's like you guys suck, but whatever. It just be able to back it up there, numbnuts. But anyway. Oh. Hey, Scarlet Kitty just said, well, hey, this is a new format. Yes, it is, Scarlet, or Kitty, or however you want to be referred to as of late. Yes, we have switched over to. It's a long story, but basically we have switched over to YouTube. We got tired of Blog Talk Radio, which is a big reason why we stopped doing the show. We were just so sick and tired of Blog Talk, and we were paying like $30 a month, and we were paying a cheaper amount.
By the end, it was close to $40 a month.
Okay, yeah, then it was $40 a month, yeah. Because it went from 30 to 40. I mean, and the service was horrible, and it was just crap. So, and I believe that YouTube Live is going to kill Blog Talk, and I don't think it could happen to more worthy people.
Just in regards to Scarlet Kitty, I happened to notice before on Facebook, she had mentioned that they were finally getting some rain where she is in California, which is good because, they're really having some trouble. But I do have a request. If she wouldn't mind, if it is raining that hard, please put on a white T-shirt and run outside, braless, of course, and post those pictures as soon as possible, as a public service, of course.
Yeah, and the reason that Pete would say this is, not because he's, likes boobs or anything. but Scarlet Kitty does have some big boobs. And
Well, yeah.
And so yeah.
And to show that it's raining out in California, so that we can all feel good about the rain in California.
Yeah, absolutely. So she actually said, I agree, death to BTR, long live you two. Ha ha ha, yeah, Pete on it. But let me just explain something, Kitty. I don't believe you till I see pictures, so that's all I got to say. So anyway, and I want to get into like some of our show topics a little later, you know, like the what do women want as far as sex, because I think it's quite interesting, and you know, we don't usually get listeners like right off the bat. You know, usually people kind of start joining in, you know, little as the show goes on. So you know, we usually try to save some of our better material for later. We try not to, you know, blow our load, you know, right in the beginning of the show, and then it's like, you know, we're apologizing for, you know, being so quick the rest of the time. So I don't say that from experience. I don't say that from experience. I have a very quick refractory period. So, you know, for me, oh yeah, look at this. Okay, Malware Bytes. Okay, Malware Bytes blocked a malicious website. God, I hate this crap. Good job, Malware Bytes. Okay, so anyway, no, because I'm the type of guy, you know, if that was ever to happen to me, which maybe it has happened a time or two, at least when I was younger, I would just dive right back in. I just, you know, it's so anyway. But I can't really do that on the show. You know, there's no such thing as refractory period for the show. Once you blow your load on the show, you done blown it, and then the rest is downhill. So anyway, but I can't really do that on the show. Yeah, I can always relate things to sex for anything. So anyway, yeah, I know it comes as a shock, but let me see here. I gotta leave this open so I can, you know, figure out what our topics are. So why don't we discuss first of all now Winnie, who is a friend of the show, you know, she was asking. I posted something about Marco Rubio, and his undying love for federal government spying, and that, you know, sort of stuff. Now she had asked, you know, who do we support, and I wasn't speaking for anybody but me, and I said Rand Paul is the only person I'm supporting. And then she said, well, I heard he's for amnesty, which I know he's not for amnesty. I mean, what it is he's not for amnesty. He's for legal immigration, but what he has said, he said for about 11 million people in this country that are here illegally, we could at least make some kind of work visa program for them, which is not amnesty.
But with that, I mean, this is all a caveat that the borders are secure.
Yeah, oh yeah. His first and
number one priority is make sure that the borders are secure.
Yeah. And I was going to say that, which is number one. Who's not wearing headphones? I hear an echo. Crap. Let me check the phones. Go ahead, Pete.
Just for that on that topic, that is the exact same position that Ronald Reagan took when he granted amnesty.
Let me check the phone.
With the promise from Congress that they would secure the border. And as it turned out, they did not do so. They gave him the royal screwing. And he didn't know it until the very end, at the end of his presidency. A couple of years ago, I read the Reagan Diaries, and in his diaries, it was actually towards the end of his presidency that he wrote about it, and he basically was until the very end. Real concern. Now we know them to be nothing more than neocons, but they were all for it. Yep, we're going to do that, Mr. President. We're going to secure the border. Just grant us this amnesty, and he did. So the caveat here is Rand Paul says when the border is secured, then we can work on not amnesty but a work visa program. Everyone has said that it's amnesty. Maybe it is. But really, to be practical with it, what are you going to do with them? You can't just round them up and shoot them. Well, I guess you could. But there's really nothing that you can do with them. You don't know where they all are. There's 11 million of them, if not more. It's probably closer to 20 million. But, there's not much you can do about it. So the horse is out of the barn, man. You got to deal with the barn. The barn is the problem, not the horse. At this point. So that's the story on Rand Paul and amnesty. Now, personally, I'm not throwing my support behind anyone just yet. It remains to be seen. Of course, I'm leaning towards Rand Paul.
Let me just this whole time you've been talking, I've been trying to figure something out. In fact, one thing that was interesting, I unplugged my earphones because I figured that even though I have it muted, I unplugged my earphones and it totally cut you and me out. It cut us totally out. And then I plugged them back in. Yeah, I don't understand why. So obviously something with Skype is feeding through the earphones. So maybe, but Kitty, if you could tell me if you're still hearing an echo, that would be awesome. Let me see. I'm trying to figure this out. View tools. I don't know how to change this on the fly. Mute microphone. Let me see. Oh no, that's probably gonna mute us both now. Unmute microphone. Because I think I just muted everybody. Audio settings. There we go. Audio settings. Let's see here.
Audio.
Microphone, speakers, headset, earphone. Jeez, I don't even know how to do this. So, okay. Anyway, let me see if I think you solved it now. Okay, thank you. If you hear anything, please let us know.
Yeah, and sometimes people have to understand too when you're doing things through Skype. Skype is internet based. So you will get certain variations in it, and you will sometimes get feedback, and you're going to get echoing. Sometimes you're going to get rumbling, which is like when you start to sound like you're going underwater, like in a cell phone. That will happen with Skype. It's not the perfect medium. It is one of the better ones at this point. But it does have its issues. So
I think it has to do with the look. I mean, I'm not going to deny it. I don't know what the hell I'm doing on a PC. I think we've clarified that many times before because I gave my rundown of my love for piece of craps. Also known as personal computers, also known as PCs. So, and this is new to us. I mean, admittedly, with BTR, even though we hated it, it was simple. we called up and boom, it was done. It just it didn't sound that good.
Yeah, but you can have a problem with Skype callers from there too.
Yeah, now if people did Skype in. Yeah, if people Skyped in, they had issues. But this I think has to deal with my audio setup personally. Because I think one of the reasons that we've had good luck with it is because I've been outside on the deck, away from my computer. But this whole time that we've been doing the show, I've been kind of monitoring the computer and everything, partly because you have no internet. So I've been kind of trying to do this. And I don't know, maybe it's because I had Skype open on my phone. I don't know. Shit.
It could very well be. It could very well be.
Because I wanted to see if people were calling. But I don't think, I'm not, it shouldn't be because I'm not connected via my, okay, EJ Pete added this and this. Okay, type message here. All right. I'll just leave that open, but I think that should be good.
If you just leave the Skype window open, you'll be fine.
Yeah. So anyway, it's just I don't know. I think what was happening is somehow my microphone was picking this up. One thing I could do is I could get rid of this camera because I'm not using that. That has a microphone on it, and for all I know, it's picking that up. So let me just unplug that and see if that helps. Jesus, what they make the USB out of? Fucking crazy glue? But anyway, okay. I couldn't get the damn thing out. It was like, it was reverse virgin. I got it in okay, I just couldn't get it out. But so anyway, now real quick, just skim over it. Basically what Rand Paul wants to do is pretty much what Ronald Reagan wanted to do, which was
the priority was securing the border, and then you deal with the amnesty issue or the work visa issue, whichever you want to do. Like you said, what are you going to do with 11, possibly as many as 20 million people? There's no way you're going to round them all up. There's just no way.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. So that's Rand Paul's solution. Now that we address that, now Lenny, as I said, she's a friend of the show, so I'm not going to be mean. But she's like, well, I heard he's for amnesty. So I was like, okay, instead of you asking us to get the information, find it out yourself. It really is a pet peeve of mine, I have to admit, because I have a lot of people that in fact, Holly is another one who recently I kind of had to get a little bit nasty with because she kept asking questions that she could have just found out very easily on her own. Instead, she's asking me, it's not as much, what do you think about this? But it's, hey, I hear that that this person is for this or what. Just go and find it out yourself.
Well, I think in her case, she is internet inept. That she about as much as she does is Facebook. So, which is understandable.
Okay. Okay. But I mean, just to let you know, all I did was a Google search. I did a Google search. I said Rand Paul amnesty, found it, boom, and I shared it. But this is what I'm saying. Look. The internet, it's not hard. I mean, I'm not saying create a website and but I'm just telling people, and this is not an attack on her. This is just people in general, because I have this happen a lot with people where they say, what is this? Look, I can understand if I'm trying to point something out, and like I'm trying to point something out and I have to come up with the evidence to prove it. I can understand that.
Yeah, when somebody position or something like that.
To support my position. If I'm making a claim or something. But if it's as simple as, hey, look, this is the person I'm supporting. Oh, I've heard he's for amnesty. Find it out yourself. Just find it out yourself. That's all I'm trying to say. Because to be honest, when you ask me, and I'm not speaking for Pete, but when you ask me, you know what? We do this show. We do it, 4 hours a week. We devote to this show. We have to do a lot of research on our own, and I don't really feel like taking extra time on Facebook to try to educate people. If you want to bring up a point and you want to say, hey, look, can you discuss this on the show? I'll be more than happy to, because that gives us.
That's one of the problems with Facebook, though. I mean, like we talked about this earlier. You get people that really, they're not too savvy with anything, and their whole reason for being on Facebook, and this isn't directed at Linny in any way, shape, or form. Linny's pretty darn smart, and knows her positions, and some things she's been, we've talked about. On the show, we talked about it, and she's actually changed her position. But the average person on Facebook is there to post pictures of their last meal, or kitten videos. So now, and I have nothing against meals nor kitten videos, but if that's all you do, you could tell some people they have one cause that they really want to talk about all the time, and that's all they ever post is those things. Mix it up a little bit. Maybe you could talk about the political aspect of it. You could talk about the constitutional aspect of it. Whatever you want to do, but let mix it up just a little bit. We don't have to hear that. You went to your brother Paul's and you had lasagna. Don't get me wrong, I love lasagna. I just don't want to hear about you having it all the time.
Yeah, I don't really care about what you eat.
Yeah, I mean, we have one friend of the show, Lunchbox, who the only thing that he ever posts is which hospital he's going to. So, I mean, it gets a little crazy after a while. So, at least have an argument.
Although we do have to admit, it was actually kind of funny when he posted that that he had gone to the hospital because of our show.
Oh yeah.
Because we had made him so upset.
Yeah. And the funniest part was he had just been to the doctors that day, and they posted that he was so happy because they got his heart arrhythmia, all corrected, and his blood pressure was corrected, and all kinds of, he had good, happy things to say, and he was very healthy, and then he called in the show. And we damn near killed him. So.
I mean, there's no better publicity. I still want to get a picture of him with the oxygen nose tubes in up his nose and stuff, and it just says, the revolution with EJ and Pete made me this way, or something like that, or damn near killed me.
The best argument I think we ever had with Lunchbox was on the Mother's Day show, or the pre-Mother's Day show. You might remember, you might not, where we happened to be discussing Obama's dead whore, her astute mother.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He took great offense to that. And really, when it comes right down to it, communist, her astute mother. And he took great offense to that, being as it was Mother's Day. And he thought that it was terrible that we were saying these things that were untrue. But yet we did prove that everything we said was true. She is dead. She's definitely her astute. She was a known communist and a whore. So we won. So we won the internet that day. So we should get prizes.
We should get prizes.
So, I mean, we proved that she was definitely a communist. So, but you know, and you could look at her, you knew that she was a dirty commie whore. So, I mean, how easy was that? So, anyway, you seem to be slightly distracted, and not in your usual way, by being distracted by squirrels and things going up trees.
Hold on a second. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna save this image. Let me see. Here we go. Save this image to my desktop. Okay. And then I'm going to try to share this on. Oh, you don't have any. You don't have internet, right?
Not at the moment.
Oh crap! Because I was gonna. There is this woman that is I am friends with on Facebook. She's quite attractive, and she damn well knows it. And she is her name is Maui. That's her first name. I doubt that's her real name. But she's like, I don't know what she is, libertarian, anarchist. I think she's anarchist, but I don't know. But she likes to take pictures of herself, and in this one, she has this flaming red hair, and she has very nice cheekbones and everything, and she has nice boobs, and she has some earphones in, that's what I made a comment on. I said, "Wow, nice earphones," but that is actually what I had up. Now, what I was really distracted by was I was trying to like cancel out all these stupid malware apps that like my computer's picked up, because once again, as I said, I hate fucking PCs. But this is actually what I had up, and I was like, because I've only seen it on my phone. Now I get to see it in a bigger format on my screen, and I have to say I think I see a little bit of a areola going on, which is yeah, that's pretty distracting to me.
Well, and there you go. I could tell you must have been getting like real close to the screen with a magnifying glass. You were actually quiet for like a good minute and a half. So
yeah. Well, actually, that was me clicking away trying to like uninstall 10,000 friggin' things. So and Scarlet Kitty says Pete doesn't have internet. I don't have a cell phone. High five. So,
well, no, it's not that I don't have internet. It's just that I changed my area where I'm doing the show from, and since doing Blog Talk and stuff, I made some changes into my inner sanctum sanctorum, which do not allow me internet access easily. I could do it, but I'd be afraid that to try and do the show with it would be cumbersome and difficult. So at least for this week anyway. Next week I'll have everything set up. But I have the extenders and all that, which I know that you went right to, penis extenders, and no, that's not what I had. I have the signal extender. It'll work fine.
Scarlet Kitty said he changed his areola.
I changed my areola. I often do. So, and you just listen, Scarlet Kitty. Don't be talking about areolas unless we're seeing some wet T-shirt pics, okay?
Yeah, I got it.
Don't be teasing now.
I gotta agree with Pete on that.
Damn it. Goddamn.
Oh, this is actually
a day from the clock for crying out loud.
This is actually important. This is from the Associated Press. U.S. unveils 6-year.
Possibly more important than areolas.
The fact that if a girl sends you a picture of said areolas, the NSA can, some dork NSA guy is sitting at his computer screen spanking it to said picture of areola that was meant for you and you alone. I would say that's pretty important.
Well.
So anyway, this is from the Associated Press. U.S. unveils 6-year-old report on NSA surveillance. With debate gearing up over the coming expiration of the Patriot Act surveillance law, by the way, they are going to be trying to re-up that for another 5 years, I believe. And Marco Rubio wants to make it permanent, by the way. Yeah, loves it, loves every part of it. The Obama administration on Saturday unveiled a 6-year-old report examining the once-secret program to collect information on Americans' calls and emails. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence publicly released the redacted report following a Freedom of Information Act lawsuit by the New York Times. The basics of the National Security Agency program have already been declassified, but the lengthy report includes some new details about the secrecy surrounding it. President George Bush authorized the President's Surveillance Program in the aftermath of the terrorist attacks on September 11, 2001. The review was completed in July 2009 by inspectors general by the Justice Department, Pentagon, CIA, NSA, and Office of the Director of National Intelligence. They found that while many senior intelligence officials believe the program filled a gap by increasing access to international communications, others, including FBI agents, CIA analysts, and managers, quote, had difficulty evaluating the precise contribution of the PSP to counterterrorism efforts because it was most often viewed as one source among many available analytic and intelligence gathering tools in these efforts. Critics of the phone records program, which allows the NSA to hunt for communications between terrorists abroad and U.S. residents, argue it has not proven to be an effective counterterrorism tool. They also say an intelligence agency has no business possessing the deeply personal records of Americans. Many favor a system under which the NSA can obtain court orders to query records held by the phone companies. The Patriot Act expires on June 1st, and Senate Republicans have introduced a bill that would allow continued collection of all call records of nearly every American. Senate Republicans, by the way, those are traitors. That would not include Rand Paul, by the way, I would like to add, or Tim Scott. That would be Senate Republicans like Lindsey Graham or John McCain or Mitch McConnell. You know, the traitor Republican pieces of shit.
Also known as the Decepticons.
The Decepticons, that's right. The legislation would reauthorize sections of the Patriot Act, including the provision under which the NSA requires phone companies to turn over the to and from records of most domestic landline calls. After the program was disclosed in 2013 by former NSA contractor Edward Snowden, hero. That's a hero, by the way. Okay. Anyway, President Barack Obama and many lawmakers called for legislation to end that collection, but a bill to do so failed last year. Proponents had hoped that the expiration of the Patriot Act provisions on June 1st would force consideration of such measure. A bipartisan group of House members has been working on such legislation dubbed the USA Freedom Act. White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest said Friday that Obama is pleased the efforts are restarting in the House. Hopefully the next place where Democrats and Republicans will turn their attention and try to work together is on this issue of putting in place important reforms to the Patriot Act. If no legislation is passed, the Patriot Act provisions would expire. That would affect not only the NSA surveillance, but other programs used by the FBI to investigate domestic crimes, which puts considerable pressure on lawmakers to pass some sort of extension. I want to talk about two things here. That last point. That would affect not only the NSA surveillance, but other programs used by the FBI to investigate domestic crimes. They are not allowed to do that. In fact, we were told that the Patriot Act and all this kind of stuff was only for catching what, Pete?
Terrorists.
Terrorists. That's right. It was not meant for domestic crimes. It was meant to catch terrorists.
Right.
My other thing I want to bring up is, how is it that I agree with Obama on this?
You probably don't.
No, of course I don't. I know, because I know. In fact, I'm being that word I can't say. That facetious. Facetious. I'm being that word. I'm being that word. I'm being a beast-ist. Anyway. Anyway. When the NDAA of 2012 came along, Obama came out and said, I am going to veto this. And a lot of people, a lot of civil liberty people and stuff like that were all, yay! The reason Obama was going to veto the NDAA of 2012 was it did not give him enough power. It didn't give the executive branch enough power. That was why he was going to veto it. He wanted something that gave him more power over people, and such. That is why under the NDAA of 2012, initially it wasn't going to include American citizens that could be detained indefinitely. But because Obama said he would veto it if he didn't have more power and there wasn't more stuff to it, they added that provision in there, which I forget, what was that, 212 or something like that, or something like that, 217. Anyway,
I think it was 217, but it doesn't matter. They added it in a provision. Yeah.
They added the provision in because Obama wanted more power and didn't think it had enough teeth. So now, thanks to Obama, you can be detained for suspicion of aiding terrorists, which could be pretty much anybody that just questions the government. They've made that quite clear. There's no debate about this at all anymore. I mean, anybody that wants to sit there and say, well, you're a tinfoil hat kind of crazy person. No, we absolutely are not. We may be. I mean, we may be tinfoil hat wearing crazy people. But not on this one. In fact, in 2009, they actually released the DOJ at the behest of Obama, because Eric Holder is really part of that whole administration. Even though he's, not part of the administration itself, he's really pretty much part of the administration, or was. Now we have another piece of shit in office. I wonder if she'll take me up on a cage match challenge.
I don't know, man. I'd be a little careful. I mean, I think she might be able to kick your ass.
She might be. I mean, she, as you said, she does look like Al Sharpton, in drag. So,
right.
Actually, Al Sharpton always looks like he's in drag. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, they are almost twins separated at birth. If it wasn't for the facial hair, there wouldn't be much difference, but I'm sure she could get electrolysis done.
I was going to say, which one of them has facial hair? Because I don't recall seeing Sharpton with facial hair.
Yeah.
But the thing is that Eric Holder's DOJ in 2009 released a memo stating what to be on the lookout for domestic terrorists. And domestic terrorists were people that believed in the Second Amendment, people that were Tea Party members, people that had Ron Paul bumper stickers, people that supported the Constitution, people that spoke out against the government. These were all people
that were against taxes, that were VFW members, American Legion members.
Yes, veterans of Iraq and Afghanistan. Specifically, veterans of Iraq and Afghanistan. These people were all what you were supposed to look for domestic terrorists.
Right.
So no, we're not tinfoil hat on this one. This is factually, if you, and keep in mind, a lot of you people that supported Obama in the beginning don't like him now and have been critical of him because you don't think he's gone far enough.
Right.
That would put you in camp as a domestic terrorist.
Right.
Because you don't agree with the government. You don't agree with this administration.
And I know that we've said it time and time again, but we'll say it for this audience as well. The analogy is once the camel gets his nose under the tent, the rest of the camel follows. So, and that's what this was. This was just enough to get the nose under the tent. And, oh, no, we won't do it to Americans. Well, guess what? Now they do.
Yeah.
So, and everyone...
I'm sorry. Hold on a second. No, Pete, they haven't done it to Americans yet. I mean, because that's the whole thing. I mean, Obama said, I'm not going to use this.
Oh, yeah.
In reference to the NDA of 2012, indefinite detention.
The Patriot Act itself and the extensions of the Patriot Act.
Well, hold on a second. Obama said he wasn't going to use it. I'm not going to use this. That's what he said.
Right.
Hold on a second. Wait a second. What about that Chicago Black House? The CIA Black House that they have?
Oh,
Hold on. We do have a caller. Let me see. 951. Who are you and what do you have to say?
Yo, EJ, Ken Pettigrew here, my friend.
Oh my goodness, what's up, buddy?
What are you doing, man? Are you just talking about domestic terrorists, and the biggest ones we have to worry about are the elected domestic terrorists, the EDTs.
Oh, no. They've made it clear that if you speak out against the government in any fashion, that you are the domestic terrorist, Mr. Pettigrew.
Yeah, well, maybe, but they are the elected ones, though.
Well, yeah, except they are the protected class. So
yeah, the protected ones.
They are not bound by any of these rules. Only you, the governed class, are the one that's going to be.
Could you imagine? My wife's cooking. Did you hear that? Look at our fire alarms going off.
No, fire alarm.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was like, wait a second. What the hell is that high pitched noise?
Yeah.
That's
Hey Ken, that's not a good endorsement of your wife's cooking. If you say if all of a sudden a smoke detector goes off and you go, my wife's cooking.
Yeah, but all she's doing is boiling water.
What a catch!
So real quick. Yeah, I want to. Are you still doing a show?
I haven't done it here for about a year now.
Okay.
Things dropped out on a partner with mine, and But I'm getting back into the game, having a new site. We're working on a new site here, and going to do some of that. Get back to making my voice a weapon, man.
Yeah, because you had gone back to BTR. Correct me if I'm wrong. You had gone back to BTR for a while, right?
No. All I did is just a little part of my half-hour show part of my show. I just cut up a half hour and threw it in there.
Okay. Yeah, that's what we were thinking about doing, because we were actually working on something ourselves. Yeah. And what we were working on is basically what YouTube Live has now come out with. We had been working on it for like 6 months. We had already beta tested it. It was called Static Air Media. And we were going to do basically what YouTube Live is doing, but we were going to do it as a subscription kind of thing, like Blog Talk. And then we were just about to hire somebody to do our automation, and then YouTube Live comes out, and they offer it for free because they have all the advertising. So that pretty much killed our company, but we said, fine, we'll just start doing it on YouTube. So if you're interested, I can tell you how to do it. I mean, YouTube Live, it's totally this is totally free, what we're doing right now. And we could be doing it.
Can you stream video too?
Yeah. In fact, technically, we are streaming video. Even though all I have is our logo up, technically we're streaming video. It's just Pete, here's the problem. Pete thinks of himself, he fancies himself as a very, very studly and attractive man. Okay, And I don't want to burst his bubble or crush his ego, so I'm going to go along with it. But Pete is afraid that if we broadcast his image, that women will be tearing his house down, murdering his wife just to get to him.
Well,
so
Pete has got to be high as a kite.
Well, that's beside the point. But
okay, wait a minute. That's the other issue.
but with this, yeah, absolutely. You live stream. That was what we were going to do. We were doing live stream video and everything. You can live stream high def video to YouTube Live. Yeah.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah, and I know you've got the mic set up and everything for it. So
I got cameras, everything. I got the whole setup. Yeah.
So all you have to do is you just have to set up like you could set up a show name page for it.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on 1 second. I have to tell my kids to be quiet.
This is my Ken Pettigrew page show.
So I think they understood that. So all you have to do is set up like a page name like we have, The Revolution with EJ and Pete.
Right.
And then you have to make sure it's in good standing. And once it's in good standing, I forget exactly how you do it, but they tell you how to do it. You get it in good standing, and then you can start broadcasting. Now, you can use the YouTube broadcaster, which goes through like Google Hangout. We're actually using a program called XSplit.
Uh-huh.
And XSplit is like you can get like XSplit for like I think it's like we have like an unlimited license with it because that's what we were using for our company, and we paid $60 a year for it for unlimited licenses. So I think for just like a single user, I think it's like $20 a year or something like that. I could be wrong. So and then we have Skype. And we pay, I think, $60 a year for the Skype, to be able to have these call-ins and all that kind of stuff.
That's what I do with mine, too, yeah. Yeah, but they still have my Skype. I still have my own call-in line. 377.
So yeah, you already have it set. You already have it set up. Now, you may be able to incorporate. I can't tell you how to use the Google version of this, but if you go with this XSplit program, you'll be able to do like what we're doing. And just as I said, like you know how like with Blog Talk, when you wanted to play a video or well, you couldn't play a video, but when you wanted to play audio, you couldn't pause it.
Right.
And so you couldn't make comments on it. With this, with this now, like if I was to start playing a video, I can feed that video into it, and I could just play it and pause it,
cool.
And it'll broadcast a video as well.
Yeah. You know what? We should. We'll talk. Just keep this number. This is my cell phone. So just keep this, and we'll talk. And I've got some links I'll send you where I can set you up a soundboard on your computer to where you can.
Oh, okay, that'd be cool.
Sound clips, stop and play. It's awesome, man. And plus, I have hundreds and hundreds of sound clips that's taken me months and years to get. Between cutting them and ripping them and, editing them, making them right. I'll send you a stack of that stuff.
Yeah, let me, actually, while I've got you on the phone, I'll just update in my phone your number here. I'll just do that. That'll be easy. And then, Pete can, talk to you and stuff. And, while I do,
He's like, oh, my God,
I do this.
Don't talk to this guy, Ken, man. If people only knew back in the day with the firing range.
Well, and one thing that's going to suck for you, Ken, because I know you had a lot of people. We used to have a lot of people.
Following,
Yeah, and then we left, and we took a year off, and let me see. Oh, I already have your phone, bro. Yeah, I already have that.
Same number. Yeah, same one that I
same number. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, man, I don't go out. Somebody wants me, they can find me.
But, that's what I say to the women. But, anyway, the problem is now you're going to have to pretty much build up that following again.
Oh, yeah. I still have a huge Twitter following. I got a lot of people that still follow all my stuff I post. I mean, I don't stop posting and making my voice a weapon out there on the things I got to say and things I see. I highly still involved in speaking my mind, just in a different aspect right now. But not messing around, dude. Still a big fight, and people need to remember that, and you got to be steadfast about what we're doing.
So I got a question for you, Ken.
Uh-huh.
Now Ken knows us from a long time ago, back when it was
now.
EJ and the Bear. I mean, long before Pete came along. Pretty much, kind of what percentage of my predictions of what was going to happen have come to happen?
A lot. Definitely more than not, for sure. Oh yeah, all this stuff. I mean, we've been talking about this stuff for how long? 5, 6, 7 years? 7 years?
Yep.
I mean, I was doing my show Bush days, and
yep.
I was pissed off about our debt then. I was pissed off about where we're going. I was pissed off about, how we half-assed everything in our life. And now, this guy, no different from Bush to Obama, the amnesty. With amnesty and the giveaway programs all day long, we got the paper president sitting there, trading 5 terrorists and $5 million for a freaking deserter. It's just shocking to me. And then we hear he's talking about scratching a check of yours and my money of $50 billion goddamn dollars to give to Iran so that they can blow up Israel in 10 years. It's just it's crazy.
Well, it's actually interesting because the things you just mentioned, wouldn't it just be better if we weren't even involved in any of that crap?
Oh, who would have thought about that? Stop it now. How dare you?
So what's it like? You're still in California, right? California.
Yeah, I'm still in the in the socialist state of California. So trying to figure out what we're going to do, where we're going to move, but we're not sure yet. I'll probably stay on the West Coast, but not sure where. But
now somebody that's listening to the show right now, Scarlet Kitty, she's a longtime listener of ours.
Uh-huh.
She actually just announced that there is rain in her part of California, and that she is going to be running around in a white T-shirt for the enjoyment of Pete and I with
it's
pictures
actually raining
later.
here in Southern California. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Southern California, it's raining. Well, okay, it's not really raining. It's a little bit of sprinkles. It's enough just to cause bad traffic. Or make the bad traffic even worse. It's always bad traffic.
I have a question. If you just said you were going to, think about move out of the People's Republic of California, but to stay on the West Coast, where would you go?
Well, there's not many. See, there's the issue because I don't want to pay state tax, so I want to cut back some of my taxes. So I'm really down to about 3 states between. Well, I guess this is not state tax, but you got Oregon, but it's pretty. I don't know, but I'm thinking about Seattle. Vegas is just too hot, man. I just can't do the desert, man. I don't know.
Don't go to Seattle. I lived in Seattle 7 years. You'll be miserable.
You'd be jumping out of the frying pan into the fire going to Oregon. It's
or Washington.
That's not an issue. But the cost of living and the taxes compared to California, anywhere you move is less between taxes. When people forget California,
people are just kooky.
Yeah, I can tell you something, Ken. I can tell you something. Now, I'm just going to give you an example, okay?
Uh-huh.
I moved from North Carolina to Seattle and then back to New Jersey, okay? Now I'm actually living in Virginia. But when I lived in North Carolina, the wages were low, taxes were low, okay, but the cost of living was low. When I moved to Seattle, the wages were low, the cost of living was high, and the taxes were high. Then I moved to New Jersey, taxes were high, cost of living was high, but the wages were high. The worst place out of those 3 places to be economically was by far Seattle.
Really?
Yes. Wow. I would not move especially to King County. I would definitely not move to King County. They have some of the highest taxes there.
Really?
I don't know anybody that's libertarian and or conservative minded that likes Seattle.
I hated it. I hated it.
Washington State. For that
it is the home of the pseudo-intellectual. Let me tell you that.
Listen, I live in the home of the fucker right now. Every illegal immigrant and his fucking brothers here.
But hold on a second, Ken. I never even once suggested that I would even consider. In fact, after I mean, it's always good to have conversations after having sex, right? So yesterday, after having sex with my wife, we were having a conversation about weather because it was just cold and rainy right now here. It's like Seattle right now, where we live. And I was saying, like, everybody's told me, like, I've had a bunch of people tell me, for the weather I like, I should move to San Diego.
Right. Oh,
and I was telling because they said, well, it's always sunny and it's like 75 degrees and 55 at night, which is my ideal temperature. Right. But I always just say, but then I have to live in California, and I don't want to do that. So no, I would never consider moving out to California. I mean,
the illegal immigrants, the freaking, listen, I don't care. Listen, someone's going to be offended, but back here are just out of control. I don't care. They can say whatever they want. I don't give a shit about this political correctness nonsense. It's freaking out of control what has gone on here in this state. Everything is Spanish. Everything. The cars. You got to love this. Only in freaking California do the illegal immigrants not only get a free driver's license, not only do the taxpayer legal citizens have to pay for 5 other DMV buildings just to be open extra time for not for American citizens, but for illegal immigrants to come stealing from our resources and live off of our freaking tax dollars. This dreamer bullshit, they can stick that dreamer shit right up their ass. Okay? And then sit here, and now there's a state law that they're going to pass to give the illegal immigrants a freaking insurance break, to where the taxpayers are paying for part of their freaking insurance now. It's just, socialism in this way is a great idea until you run out of other people's money. And guess what? Yeah.
We keep paying them. So
it's nonsense.
It's our own fault. We just keep doing it. It's not their fault. You have to understand. This is what government and socialist governments do.
Oh,
you can't change that. But you can change how you do things. Do not pay them.
Yeah.
Make sure that they owe you nothing at the end of the year. Make sure
no. That's what I always do. Yeah, no. I claim as much as I claim and everything, because I'm not letting them live off of my money. It's just nonsense here. In the state of what? Who would have thought the state with the highest illegal immigration rate also owns 1/3 of all the welfare debt in America. Out of all 50 states, California owns 1/3 of the entire country's welfare. Explain that one. It's funny how that shit goes hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what?
I swear, man, we are one. Listen, man, we are one step from a painted donkey with zebra stripes on our freaking on Capitol Hill. I mean on our on our state capitol here. We're one step from it. We're one step from that fucking donkey that's painted with zebra stripes.
Well, though, listen, you can't blame them. You can't blame them. You got to blame the people of California or California.
Oh, for sure. It's nonsense.
It's insane. But it's that way everywhere at this point. As a country as a whole, we can't blame the government at this point. We have only ourselves to blame.
I agree. No, listen. I totally agree. It's amazing when you dumb down listen, they've done everything right. They've dumbed down the people. When the state takes over the education system and it starts dumbing down the people, and don't teach them what this country was really founded on. And what this country, I mean, it's more than just our Constitution. What made America great is look what we have done in less than 240 years. Look what we've done. Look what we've done. Okay, well, technically probably about 300 years. But as America, look what we've done. What has Europe done I mean, how long has England been around? How many thousands of years? And they're barely now getting to brushing their teeth. Seriously, man, we put a man on the moon. We look what we've done. Everything, mass transit, the rail system, everything that is productive on this planet and that is become something is because of what we did as America. And what that is that we can do it here. A couple bicycle guys build an airplane. Who? Americans. Kind of reminds me of the speech from Stripes. I'm about to go Bill Murray on you. You know what I'm talking about, right? That's right.
But you know what? After those 200 years, I mean, when you think about it, let's just say the 200 years from the bicentennial on up now. Yeah. We are slowly, actually even faster now, but we've slowly dismantled just about everything good that we've ever done.
Oh my God! It's so, you know what? And it's so funny that Mitt Romney's money's bad, but Mitt Romney's money's bad. A grandfather who comes here as an immigrant, who works hard, get his son to be a little bit educated, then who gets his grandson to go to college and actually really become smart in business, do a lot of things, make a lot of money, build a lot of companies. That money's evil. That money's evil. That American dream, your grandfather worked hard, your dad worked hard, and now they provided a better future for you. That money's bad, but Hillary Clinton's dirty murder money that comes from all these foreign investors, that's okay. She's a fucking saint.
Well, yeah, I got to tell you, both of them have a little bit of a problem. Mitt Romney's money, and don't get me wrong, I'm not defending Hillary Clinton.
No, I know that.
the scum of the earth. As a matter of fact, I just took 2 Hillary Clintons before I started doing the show. Mitt Romney's money came from, have you ever heard of the Mormon Mafia?
Well, okay, yes. But I'm talking about but the thought of where his grandfather started, where his dad was, and where he ended up. Going to college and making something of himself.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to
there's no two
the
ways
others.
about it. He became a smart businessman. There's no two ways about it. He did it, with, some things that were maybe not as legal as they should be. But he did it. I have no problems with that. I do have a problem with, his political agenda. I don't think that there's much of a difference between him and Hillary Clinton and Obama.
I think there was a big difference between them on that.
Let me ask you this: if there was a big difference, let's see, what are the 2 major differences? Out of the 2, Obama and Romney, when they were running, okay, out of the 2, which one of them signed an anti-gun legislation?
Oh, I know. It was Romney.
Oh, there you go. Out of the 2, for socialized medicine.
Oh, Romney. His state had it. His state had it.
I mean, the 2 were almost exactly the same on a lot of different issues. The only difference between the 2, really, when it comes right down to it, was the speed at which they would take us down the wrong track.
Well, one of us got us there wide open. That's for damn sure.
I'm sorry?
Well, I said one of us got us there wide open. His foot's still on the gas.
Absolutely.
It's crazy,
with Romney, maybe we would have slowed down from 500 miles an hour to about 440 miles an hour. Me. So, you know.
Yeah, Romney, no, you know what? Romney was no different. Romney was no different. We've proven that on the show many times before.
No, yeah, I mean, listen, none of these guys are perfect, and Romney wasn't the
No. Ken. No,
okay.
I'm gonna just put it like I've put it many times before. Okay, between Romney and Obama. Okay, both of them created socialized health care. Both of them increased government spending. Both of them increased the number of public programs. Both of them, there's another one I can't remember. Both of them did something else that I can't remember. Only one of them signed very, very strict gun laws.
Right.
Who was that?
It was Romney.
We just went through that. We know it was Romney.
Yeah,
Okay, it was Romney. So no, Romney wouldn't have been any fucking better. Okay. Both Obama and Mitt Romney were both, their number one campaign contributor was both from Goldman Sachs.
But I do think it's beyond just that. Our foreign policy, the issues that we're in today, is so beyond. We are in serious trouble in the world as a country.
Both of
our economies, number two, our fucking military is being. Listen, our military had to pick up their rifles. No, leave your rifles like the fucking French. Grab your shit and run. Because the fact we can't send a fucking and protect our fucking American citizens because 8 months ago Yemen was a fucking look what we did in Yemen, and now we got to run like fucking women. It's just a fucking embarrassment.
But when we went into Iraq, I mean, hell, we didn't even give the proper equipment to our soldiers, and that was under Bush. And that's probably how Romney would have been. He probably would have been more like Bush on foreign policy. So I mean, they both suck. They both just suck. Now here, hold on.
Listen, but we're so deep in the Middle East, there's no getting out. People don't understand.
No, there's totally getting out.
Right
just
now.
Get out.
Just totally getting out. You just get out.
I mean,
That's it.
Anything that we've touched there has turned to a disaster. Get out of there now. They've been killing each other for thousands of years. Let them kill each other some more, but don't put an American citizen or an American soldier in harm's way.
See, now I'm with you there. Listen, but there's a lot of other ways. At this point, I don't understand. We have the ability, literally, to get somebody and blow them up as they're taking a dump. We literally have that ability today, and we pussyfoot around. It's one thing that I appreciated about the Mafia. The Mafia didn't mess around. If they're going to get you, they just go get you, and you're done. Fuck you. Do you guys got this squared away? Listen, don't look at us again, crooked eyes. We'll just knock you shit out. We'll cut your fucking head off. Now we sit here and we play around. We're like playing grab ass with guys that are wanting to kill us. We have our military teaching our young men to have sensitivity training in the trenches because we're going to have some fucking broad in there fucking trying to fight with them. And the other guys have 8-year-old kids fucking cutting people's heads off. Who do you really think is going to win this fucking war, man?
You're absolutely right. But the key with that is, why are you there to begin with?
I'm with you there.
Why?
But they're not getting out.
Well, put it this way. Put it this way.
You hack it up. You put everyone on a C-130 and get the fuck out.
Yeah, listen, I agree with you there, but that's not going to happen. So we have to come to the realization.
Why not?
Why? You tell me one person that's there, that's a politician that's got the balls to say, let's pull out everybody and let those women and children and all these fucking people get fucking whacked.
Well, I don't know of anyone that's there now, but I do know of one that was there before.
Yeah. But in our lifetime, listen, man,
Ken, hold on a second.
Okay.
Answer that question. Okay, you asked a question, and Pete suggested, but there was one person. Do you know who that person was?
Who's that?
Ron Paul. Ron Paul would have he would have done just that. Now, I wanted to address that because I was going to say, since we were taking a trip down memory lane with Romney and Obama and stuff like that, okay, you are very concerned about illegal immigrants, and so am I. I mean, we should be.
Oh, it's my number one thing, man.
Okay, then you should have been the biggest Ron Paul supporter that ever should have been. Because what Ron Paul wanted to do was pull our troops out of the Middle East and all these crazy friggin' areas, and he wanted to put the troops on the border and protect our border in Mexico like every other fucking country does with their military that protect their borders.
Like Mexico does on its southern border.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get across the southern border of Mexico.
Wait a second. Mexico protects their northern border too. Think about that Marine. Think about that Marine that got lost, and we let him rot in a jail.
We let him. Can you believe? Listen, we are so spineless today in the country. It's just fucking makes me throw up. It makes me throw up how nobody has any backbone, man. Nobody has any backbone to stand up for anything.
So now this is what I'm going to say, Ken. And it does actually fit in with one of our topics tonight because we're going to discuss the candidates right now for the Republican Party. And excuse me, I'm chewing on pizza as I talk. So I mean, I'm a great host.
You're so professional.
Maybe.
And I'll tell you what. Once I see a check coming my way, I'll abstain from eating food. Okay. Until then, piss off. I'm eating some fucking pizza.
I'm having pizza.
But anyway, so we were going to talk about some of the candidates. Okay.
Right.
Now we've mentioned Rubio today. Rubio, he's pro amnesty. He's pro NSA. He's pro NDAA. He's pro-Patriot Act. He wants to make the NSA spying program permanent. That's what Rubio wants. So, Rubio, suck a dick. You're a traitor. Okay? Ted Cruz. Oh, everybody loves Ted Cruz. Well, Ted Cruz, he's great, right? Ted Cruz's wife. Now, it's his wife. It's not him. Ted Cruz's wife. We have pointed this out before. She is a board member of the Council of Foreign Relations, which is the precursor to Agenda 21. She was also an executive at Goldman Sachs. That's bad. Now, with Loretta Lynch. Now, here's the thing. Anybody that is not aware of Loretta Lynch, everybody that listens to our show should know that I have a absolute love affair with former Attorney General Eric Holder. I mean, everybody knows that. I mean, Pete, he is my favorite person in the world, right?
Absolutely. You want to get
absolutely
first.
Yeah.
I mean, I love him so much. I have challenged him probably 100 times to a cage match because I just want to hug him. I just want to put him in like a chokehold and hug him to death. Okay.
Squeeze him like a little teddy bear.
So now his replacement, another piece of shit who is absolutely for civil asset forfeiture, which we've discussed on the show, which is they can take your shit without ever finding you guilty of anything, just because your property had some relation, first cousin, second once removed kind of association with some kind of criminal activity. They can take your property. It's different than criminal asset forfeiture, but she's all for it. Okay. Now, Ted Cruz was vowing, he was very, very vehement, he was talking and saying, I will stand against her being her nomination. I will vote against her. He skipped the vote.
He
skipped the vote on Loretta Lynch this past week. Now, some would argue, oh, well, she would have been nominated anyway. Well, you know what? Rand Paul still voted. And by the way, don't we hear from these sacks of shit in office that every vote counts? Yeah. I'm sorry. It only counts when we vote for your ass, but when we want you to do something, you skip the fucking vote. Ted Cruz can suck a dick right with fucking – Ted Cruz can suck a dick with Rubio. Okay, they can suck each other's dick, 69 it.
Hey,
fuck
this is what I'm talking about, man. See, this is why we need to get that soundboard, because from off the Chronic album, Dr. Dre and Snoop's got that part. You can suck a big fat dick. See, we can just rip that one section out. So Ted Cruz can suck a big fat dick. You can just play that. See, look at man. This is why that had a big following, man. But anyway, hey man, hey brother, Pete, you guys, hey man, I got to roll, man. I saw you guys were on, man. I had to give you a call, man. Give me a call, man. Let's stay in touch. Let's do this again.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I'll give you a call, in the next couple days. Maybe tomorrow, I'm not sure, but I'll give you a call because I'd like to work a soundboard in. Plus, there's some other features I can go over with you on like the XSplit and shit, and a soundboard for XSplit would really help us out with a lot of other shit too, and I'll tell you why.
I can do some cool things because I would rip audio right off of what I needed and I could play it and talk over or stop the interview and have my conversations I wanted to have about it, or at least my thoughts on it. So I can on that, and that's what, man, easy enough.
Cool. Oh, and I didn't know that you actually knew Scarlet Kitty. She adopted your dog.
Oh, is that Tracy?
Yes. But she goes by Scarlet Kitty when she's on the show.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She actually knew it was you.
The bigger thing, how does she know you?
I would assume that she knows us from you then, if you guys were friends.
Yeah. Yeah, man. She took my dog because, she took my wife and I and my dog because we moved. We had to get in a smaller place, so I had two choices. It was either to her or a Vietnamese family for a meal and a gloves. So. But anyways, on that note,
all right, Ken,
everybody.
Good to hear from you, buddy. I'll be in touch, man.
Talk to you later, buddy. All right.
Later, man.
Later. Bye.
Now, I got to say, one thing I wanted to say when you started to talk about the candidates, something just dawned on me from what Ken said. And I'm not knocking Ken. Ken's a great guy. When he said that no politician is ever going to get us out of the Middle East, he's absolutely right. He's 100% right. But you know what? That's our fault as well. Because the document says, we the people, not us the politicians. So if you allow the politicians to make these decisions without retribution, then they're going to continue to make these bad decisions.
Oh,
or am I right?
No. I mean, you're right. But what I'm saying is, if we were to get the right people in, and I hate that saying, as you know.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, there's there's 6 of them. Hundreds upon hundreds.
But if we were to get, let's say, okay, now to wrap up, because notice I'm not talking about Jeb Bush. I'm not talking about Frothy Santorum.
Jeb Bush is the best candidate the Democrats ever put up.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm not talking. I'm talking about the ones that people seem to, the liberty more minded people or true conservatives seem to be bringing up, which is Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio. All the rest of them are neocon scum shitheads, and there's not even worth mentioning. Now, I will say just this about Rand Paul, and we mentioned this on Wednesday's show, so I'm not going to really get into it, but it's going to round out our candidate discussion. Judge Andrew Napolitano and actually what is it, Ron Paul Jr., which is Rand's brother. They have both come out and said, ideologically, there is no difference between Ron and Rand.
Right.
And if you look at, and I brought this up on an argument or a debate today. I said, if you look at the issues that Rand Paul actually really stands on, the way he votes, what he's really stood on, have been important federal government issues. Now, when the ones he's wavered on, or the ones he's, even if you talk about like gay marriage, he's clearly said this really isn't an issue. I mean, he said, my personal opinion is between a man and a woman, but who am I to say? And it's not a federal government issue. Abortion, he totally handled that perfectly, and he just threw it back at Wasserman Schultz, and to which she really couldn't come up with a good answer. But then other issues like foreign issues. If you really think about it, look, Ron Paul, Rand Paul, they know the Constitution in and out. He knows that is an issue that's going to be handled by Congress because he doesn't believe, just like his father believed, you need to get an act of Congress to declare war, to send troops and go to war. It's not a president's decision. So I think he's playing that game there because if he was to get into office, I think if there was a need, let's say, quote unquote, for war, he would go and approach Congress and say, look, we need to vote on this. I need your commitment. You need to actually declare war as per the Constitution, or we're not going.
Right.
So I think those are the areas where he's kind of playing the game, but on real important issues, domestic spying, police abuses, mandatory minimum sentences, he's been very clear. He has not wavered, and he has come out on the side of liberty and the Constitution.
Right. Now, one of the things that is very confusing is this trade issue.
Is how awesome I am. Real quick. Scarlet Kitty actually said, no, actually, she was following EJ and the Bear long before she even knew about Ken. She was like, just weird coincidence. So anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, and she said she loves you.
Who's that?
Scarlet Kitty said she loves you.
Oh, well, I love her.
Uh-huh. Anyway, you were saying, now I'm going to munch some more pizza.
More than I can even say. I don't even know. Oh, the only thing that's been very confusing with Rand Paul, and it's really, I try to do as much reading on it as I can to try and understand his true position, and I'm just having trouble with it, is this new trade thing that's coming up, where they want to cede power to the executive branch for making trade agreements with other countries.
From what I've seen, he's very clear against the fast track. In fact, we brought that up on Wednesday.
But see, there's times where he comes out and says, yes, I want the fast track to come up. I want this to be an issue in the forefront. And he never really clarifies if it's because he wants to shoot it down, or if he wants it to actually happen.
Actually, didn't I bring that up on Wednesday? I went and found an article that discusses that he wants it to be debated.
Yes, but he never actually comes out and says, I am against this issue.
Well, I think he's actually being kind of, you know what? Maybe he wants it to be debated more so he can make up his mind. I mean, that would be the prudent thing to do. I mean,
it's pretty clear, that it's an issue that under the Constitution it has to be done by Congress. It can't be done by the executive branch. So there's really no debate there. You just bring it to the forefront and just say no. It's that simple. There's no debate to even be had. The Constitution doesn't allow for it unless Congress makes it so. So I really want him to come out and say, I am dead set against this, and this is why I want this to come out to the forefront, and this is why I want to debate it. Other than that, I don't really have any other issues, for the most part. So,
the fact that he even wants it to be debated, I think, is definitely something good.
Well, Bernie Sanders wants it to be debated too. And I don't know that Bernie Sanders, has the same reasoning.
But Bernie Sanders and I'm not going to say Rand, but Bernie Sanders and Ron Paul certainly agreed on a lot of issues as the problem. They just never agreed on the solution. But they were very consistent in wanting to discuss and bring forth the issues to have a discussion about them.
Well,
you know what I mean? So right. You know what? I'm just like with what he's doing. I can't make a judgment because he hasn't come out for it or against it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's the only thing that I'm having an issue with. Come out and say it. Don't. This is something that you don't play the game with. Come out and make it clear because people are using that against him now. I've seen people that, and it could gain traction just because of that. When you become ambivalent, or, you're just sitting there kind of pussyfooting around the issue and just saying, oh, yeah, I want it discussed. Come out and say, I want it discussed because I think it's dead wrong. That's the difference between him and Ron, is Ron Paul would say, this is wrong, this is what I want to happen, this is the way we have to do it. He didn't pussyfoot around it. He actually came out and said, this is the problem and this is the solution. Not, I want to debate it.
Okay, so here I got an article from The Diplomat here. U.S. Senator and Republican presidential hopeful Rand Paul is calling on Barack Obama to conclude negotiations over the Trans-Pacific Partnership by year's end. Last week, Senator Paul gave what his office billed as a major foreign policy address, comprehensively outlining his conservative realism vision for American foreign policy. One of the four main pillars of conservative realism, Paul explained, is reviving U.S. economic strength. Our national power is a function of the national economy. Paul views increased trade as essential to reviving sluggish economic growth. The senator commended Obama's predecessor on promoting trade, pointing out that the George W. Bush administration brokered 14 new free trade agreements during his 8 years in office and negotiated 3 others that were eventually ratified during the Obama administration. By contrast, Senator Paul noted that Obama hasn't successfully negotiated a single new agreement since taking office. Instead of just talking about so-called pivot to Asia, the Obama administration should prioritize negotiating the Trans-Pacific Partnership by year's end, Paul said during the speech. Although he cast a slow pace of TPP negotiations as a criticism of President Obama, Paul is likely looking ahead to the next Congress when the issue could be ripe for bipartisan cooperation with the White House. A week from today, the U.S. will hold midterm elections in which the Republican Party is favored to win the majority in the Senate. Blah, 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 blah. This puts the Republicans.
It never really comes out.
Never really came out.
Deep around the bush. And I'll agree that George Bush came out with some free trade, quote unquote. See, free trade is never really free trade when it involves us. Yeah. It's always free trade with these other countries where we don't put tariffs on their goods to be traded here. But we always allow them to put tariffs on our goods. because they're so-called undeveloped countries. Well, you know what? Tough shit. I've had it. You want to make yourself a developed country? Do so. Do so without my goddamn money. I've had it. So we did this with China. We gave them most favored nation status, if you remember that, under Clinton. And that was just great because, man, we could bring in all that Chinese shit and sell it at Walmart all day long. Just try and get a Ford truck into China. Try it. McDonald's goes there, but McDonald's gets taxed up the wazoo. See, and this is the problem. It's not real free trade. If you want it to be free trade, make it real free trade. No tariffs amongst anyone. We don't charge you extra to bring in yours. You don't charge us extra to bring in ours. That's free trade.
I do have to tell you that the girl you were arguing with, she's actually being quite funny, making fun of you.
Well, that's good. So.
And Winnie seems to be mad at me because I mentioned, and then she says, it is funny because she says, you guys do host a radio show, and instead of talking about tits and wet T-shirt, LOL, it gives you questions to answer for those that may do nothing but Facebook. And I just wanted to clarify, Winnie, I did not bring up the wet T-shirts. That was Pete. Because then she goes, hi, Pete. Like, I'm the bad guy here. You're the one that brought up the wet T-shirt.
You are.
Well, I am kind of the bad guy, but
because, I would bring it up, and it's a short thing. You would tend to go on about it for quite some time. So, although I still want those wet T-shirt pictures.
So anyway, like you were saying, okay, and I agree with you on that. I mean, I would like a little bit more commitment, but on everything else, I'm with them. I'm not, like I say, it's my only stickling point right now. Other than that, for the most part, I don't like the idea of any kind of amnesty, but I understand the mindset that he has, with it. It's just that I can't see Congress in its present form ever actually securing the border. It's really that simple. No matter who they are, they're not going to secure the border. I just. I agree with you. I mean, when they might after they've let enough Islamists in to create a big terrorist attack or something. Maybe then they will. Speaking of closing things down now. I want to touch on this really quick. We have mentioned Operation Jade Helm. It's going. How many states is that covering? 8?
7 or 8, yes.
7 or 8 in the Southwest. I mean, big swaths of land. And people have been reporting about different.
Actually, Florida was added as well.
What was added?
I believe that Florida was added.
Really? Huh.
I believe so.
So now they are closing Walmarts in certain areas, and they're firing people. They're like closing them down, firing people.
Mm-hmm.
And now I did watch a video, and this would be good for me to kind of learn how to download video. Of course, I watch it like right before the show, and the guy brought up something. He was somebody that used to deal with like military preparedness or whatever, and he was saying basically Walmart and Home Depots have been deemed by the federal government as worldwide distribution centers for the military. So any kind of action that happens, they shut down the Walmarts, so then they can have things come in. It's a big warehouse. That's all Walmart really is.
Right.
So that is why your Walmarts are closing, because they are running drills that they are saying are going to be used against foreign enemies, but it's already been leaked that they're preparing to use them against domestic enemies, meaning you, me, and anybody else that disagrees with them.
No.
Well, I'm proud to be an American. Or at least I know I'm free.
I think it's you're being a little tinfoily there. I think we can believe the Walmart management when they say that all these stores in these particular states where Jade Helm is being held just happen to have plumbing issues.
Yeah, they just had plumbing, like a bunch of them.
Yeah, well,
so now, Pete, keep in mind, we are going to get to what women really want. We will get to that. We have 17 minutes left in the show. So I'm going to just touch on this real quick. You wanted to bring this up. Violence erupts at Baltimore police death protest. Protesters smashed police cars and shop windows in downtown Baltimore on Saturday when the biggest demonstration over the death of a young African-American man in police custody turned violent. More than 1,000 people joined in an orderly 90-minute rally in Baltimore City Hall, demanding justice for Freddie Gray, who died last Sunday from spinal injuries a week after his arrest in the city's impoverished West Side. But the mood shifted dramatically when several scores of protesters moved on to the Camden Yards baseball stadium an hour before the scheduled start of a Baltimore Red Sox game, Orioles-Red Sox game. Live images from local television news helicopters showed a youthful crowd, an Amish youthful crowd, hurling soda bottles and trash cans at police officers alongside the sports legend museum and Camden Yards ticket booths. Protesters are now breaking windows and throwing items at us. The Baltimore Police Department confirmed in its Twitter feed, "We're asking everyone to remain peaceful." It goes on and on and on and on and on and on. But I have one question to ask. If the cops aren't killing people, do they get bottles thrown at them?
Well, yeah.
Really?
Well, yeah. It does happen.
I'm sure.
Does it happen with, massive protests? No.
Yeah.
No. But it does happen. Try and take a, police car through Camden. They don't stand a chance.
Yeah, that's true.
There's places in Detroit. The police are just not allowed to go. It's really that simple. So, yeah, it does happen. And more than bottles just get tossed at them. So, there's no two ways about it. But in this case, there's definitely something really screwed up about what they did there. I mean, this guy, you could see the video, he's not paralyzed. He's alive when he's getting into that ambulance, and then all of a sudden he's dead with a severed spine.
Yeah.
Now, did he get a little riled up? I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea of knowing what happened.
Yeah, but isn't that why they have tasers? Isn't that why they have, look, what are they called? SWAT teams? Is that what they're called? That come in and subdue prisoners?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And basically they usually just pin them against a wall or whatever, or they have pepper spray. They have all sorts of things. I mean, they also have, severing of spine techniques. So, they can use those too. But
yeah, absolutely.
So that's what I wanted to bring up, about that. It's, it is interesting. I don't know if you saw the video of the Scandinavian police officers in New York City. Did you see that?
No.
Okay, so two homeless guys were fighting. They were fighting on the subway, and there was 4 Scandinavian police officers on their way to go see Les Miserables, or whatever, however you freaking pronounce that. And so they went, they broke it up, they put the guys on the ground, and one guy was like, I can't breathe, like thinking these are American cops, like that's going to work.
Right.
but the cops just kind of kept patting him on the back. They're like, "Hey, buddy, calm down. It's okay. Oh, you okay?" And they were very calm and they were very soothing, and they kept control of the situation. They waited until the New York Police Department came and took him and cuffed him and arrested him. But had these been American cops, these guys would have been like, they might have been dead. They certainly would have been beat. They certainly would have been beat up. Not a doubt in my mind that they would have had their asses kicked. But the Scandinavian police, and it's funny because I did have this argument with one guy where he's like, "Oh, how do you know what police are trained to do? They are trained to de-escalate situations." And I said, well, obviously they're not trained that well. Okay? And that's the truth. They're not trained that well. If you're trying to tell me that police in this country are trained to de-escalate situations, they are being fucking trained by a 5-year-old kid that hasn't had a nap. Okay? That's who's fucking training these people. Okay? Because that's what they act like. Because you see this video, and it's amazing to just see these are cops from Scandinavia patting them on the back. You're okay. They're not like being light-handed though. I mean, they've got the guys pinned down. Right. They've got them pinned down, but they're not like beating them. They're not like
situation.
Yeah, they're not screaming in their ear, "Stop resisting," and hitting them. Don't reach for my gun. Of course, they didn't have a gun on them. They're just patting them. Hey, calm down, buddy. Are you okay? You're okay. Okay. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. Just calm down. And that's what they're doing. And I'm just like, man, I wish we had cops. Like, can we import some of the, can we make a trade? I want to make a trade. Our cops for like Scandinavian cops. So anyway, Now, real quick, it seems as though Russian hackers, it was known that Russian hackers had hacked into Obama's email accounts and stuff like that, and the State Department and stuff. And now it's turning out that they were able to hack much more than they thought. And I have one question. Could you please try to hack Hillary's personal email account so we could find out?
Maybe they came up with the Hillary's emails.
Yeah, so they can find. Oh, we do have a caller. Let me get back to the. We'll get back to here. Add call the group. There we go. 951. Is this Ken or is it Kitty?
No, it's your really cool dude.
Oh, it's not 951. It's 954.
954.
My phone was I was looking at my phone and it was kind of flipping around. So anyway, yeah, why can't they find that? But anyway, I'm going to help Brian out now because Brian has not always been so lucky in love, and that's who we have. Hello, Brian. And Brian's had some issues with the women in the past. I think that would be fair to say, right?
Not really, no.
Like you don't know, like yes. We've had conversations where you don't exactly understand what women want.
I honestly, to the point now where I don't give two shits anymore, so.
All right, well, and that is a fair thing to say, because most men don't know, and they get so frustrated because they don't know what women want. So they just get like Brian and say, I'm at the point I just don't give a shit anymore. But for those who still give a shit, we have figured it out. Now, there was a study done, and it's often referred to as the monkey study. Have you heard of the monkey study, Brian?
I think I know where you're going with this, but yeah, I think I know what this is all about, yeah.
Okay, okay. So basically what this study did is it took a group of men and it took a group of women. And they came in for this study, and they were fitted with, like, what's that?
They threw poop at each other.
Oh, no. That's another study. That's a totally different study. So they were fitted with, things that measured their heart rate, perspiration. For women, they had things on the genitals for both the men and women for the women to measure increased in wetness. For men, it was, girth of penis, if it increased. And then they had these all the men and women watched all the same videos, and they showed videos of straight couples having sex, gay couples having sex, men alone naked, women alone naked, men masturbating, women masturbating, lesbian sex, all this kind of stuff. And at the end, they showed a clip of monkeys having sex. Then they recorded all the data that they gathered from the men and women. Then they had the men and women write down, what it was, what scenes turned them on and what scenes didn't do anything for them. And the straight men wrote down that, that the straight sex turned them on, watching women masturbate turned them on, watching lesbians get it on turned them on, and that was pretty much it. They weren't turned on by the gay sex, weren't turned on by men masturbating or monkeys screwing. Gay men, put down the gay guys, and the gay and the guy masturbating turned us on, and the naked male turned us on, and that was pretty much it. And they were and that's what they wrote. Now the women, of course, they wrote, straight women, same kind of thing. I like the straight sex. I like the male masturbating. Some of them, a couple of them were, some of them were saying, well, I did kind of like the lesbians or whatever like that. Didn't like the the male gay sex. And those are the things you would kind of think the average person would respond to. And then lesbians was, how you would think they responded the same way. And nobody liked the monkeys fucking, So now for
one of their Doc Martens, shined up pretty quick. So
now for the males, whether they be straight or gay, their answers corresponded with their arousal, with like their perspiration, heart rate, and genital reaction. The males, the straight males showed like an erection, increased heart rate and all that kind of stuff for, straight porn and women masturbating and stuff like that. The interesting thing is the women, their answers did not correspond like at all with what their bodies responded to. I mean, some of it did, but 15% of them, of the women, actually showed sexual arousal signs from watching monkeys screw.
Which should be very hot.
So now here's the thing. The women answered what you would think the women would answer, and the women answered truthfully. They weren't lying. They were thinking, what turns me on? Straight sex turns me on. Seeing a naked man turns me on. And even a couple, some women may say, well, seeing a woman could kind of turn me on. They answered truthfully as to what they thought they liked, but their bodies were actually saying a whole different story. They were like, yeah, I kind of like the gay guys humping each other, and I even like the monkeys humping. So the moral of this study is men are pretty clear. They know what they like. When they say they know what they like, and you should listen to it. Women don't have a goddamn clue about anything when it comes to sex. So the total moral of this, don't waste your time going and talking to a woman and saying, hey, what do you think we should do in the bedroom? Because they won't tell you. They'll tell you something, but you'll never know if it's truthful.
You see, that's you're totally right, EJ, because once you go to choke fuck them and they don't really like it, then the police come and you're fucked. So it's not, so asking isn't going to help
one
either.
thing and one thing we do know is that at least 15% of them will say, well, you know what I'd really like? I'd like to watch some monkeys fuck tonight.
Or maybe be nailed by a monkey.
Right. So
because they don't know. We don't know. They don't know.
No. So
now, in all seriousness, what this study does actually show, and I'm actually being serious. I know. I actually have to say it a couple times when I'm being serious because nobody takes me seriously.
Yeah, really.
But in all seriousness, for the third time, what this study actually really shows is that if you're trying to figure out like what your wife likes or your girlfriend likes, don't even bother asking them. You have to pay attention to different things. You have to initiate things. You know, if you think maybe she might like some spanking, spank her in the ass when you're having sex with her. If she goes, hey, what the hell is that? And she gets, and she dries up, well, take that as your sign she doesn't like it. But you could ask a girl, you could say, so, you want me to spank your ass? And she might say no. I don't want you, no, that's it. But she doesn't even know that she might actually like that. It's actually totally true. It's like, it's so messed up. But, the best advice is to don't even discuss it, because then, of course, if you discuss it and they say no and you do it and they actually don't like it, then they're just going to be pissed at you. Just do it. When you're plowing, just smack them on the ass, and they might go, hey, what? Just say, I thought you might like it. Yeah, there we go. And she may like it, and then you can try some other things. So that's the moral of the story. So women don't have a clue.
I wanted to bring this up with it Wednesday, but somehow. But have you guys? I don't know if you're going to admit to this, but have you guys got into AR-15s or those platforms yet?
What?
At one time, prior to our Delaware boating accident, yes, we've been into the AR-15s.
Okay, cool. I just recently put mine together. I mean, because I bought my lower about 2 years ago, right before Sandy Hook, and then when I tried to buy the upper, that was the I had a better chance of getting pregnant than finding one because of all the the talk of the. So once things died down, I finally bought one, and I know because I've seen a lot of companies out there that are selling these ARs. And they build them obviously. $1,500, $2,000 LaRue's up to like $3,000 for something that you could build for $600, and I pretty much did that, and I cannot be more happier. I mean, I am more than happy.
And his AR is chambered for 7.62.
Yes, it is.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, very nice. He showed me a picture of it.
A strange configuration for the magazine.
Yeah, magazine looks a little funky, but that's the only problem that people have. They'll say, oh, the 7.62 is a bad platform. The problem is it's the magazine. If you could find an actual magazine that works for it, and it works properly, it's fine. A lot of people say, oh, this bolt carrier is messed up. It doesn't. No, it's all the magazine pretty much, 99% of the time.
Yeah.
This weekend.
Yeah, I prefer 7.62. Over the 223. I prefer a little bit heavier. I definitely do.
I've seen them chambered in 308. I've seen.
Oh yeah.
I mean, 458 SOCOM, 300 blackout, 6.8 Grendel or 6.5 Grendel, I can't remember, or 6.8, 6.5.
6.5.
Yeah, there's I think they even chambered a 5.45, the AK-74, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
That could be
Yeah.
Also 5.54. Yeah. Yeah.
But I like the 7.62. It is easier to get. It's cheaper. And it's a heavier round. I definitely do like the Is it going to drop more? Yeah.
Yeah.
But in most areas, you're not going to be shooting anything past 100, maybe 200 yards.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, most engagements, even in the military, you're engaging between 20 meters to 75. It's not like you're going to be picking something off at 300 meters. I mean, you can do it, but it's just not. You're still going to get the same. In my humble opinion, of course. I mean, people are out there who are like these ballistic Nazis. The 223 doesn't drop off. Fuck you, whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, but if you're going to be worried about that, for anything like up to like 300 yards or even 300 meters for that matter, you're not going to use a 223 anyway.
You're not going to use a 7.62 either. You're going to go with a 308 or what you have, or you're going to go with more of a rifle caliber.
Sure.
Having said that, though, just by going on the internet and looking at all the modifications you can do, holy F, man, you can. There's like they got nitride boron coated bolt carrier groups, so that you don't have to clean it as much.
That sounds like a sex toy to me.
It does, doesn't it? They also have like they instead of like having a gas system, you can switch it out to have it a piston. Your AR can be
I just want to mention, do you realize, Pete, I don't know if you realize, but Brian wasn't lying when he said he just really doesn't give a shit anymore. Because we started talking about sex and stuff like that, and he starts talking about AR-15s. He just doesn't give a shit. He was being completely honest.
I have to agree with him. We made the point. We don't care. The only thing that matters is my pleasure. This is what women are placed on earth for. So, I really don't care what they like and don't like. As long as I get what I like, that's all I care about. I am far more interested in calibers and drop and the different things that you can do with an AR-15 platform, or for that matter, an AK platform. I actually called the AR platform and all the different things you could do and the different rails and the Picatinny rails and all the different gadgets you could put on it. It's kind of like Barbie for men.
Yes.
Like it's like camper Barbie. It's like California breeze Barbie. It's the same thing with the AR-15 or all the different platforms that you could put.
You get the 16-inch barrel, the 18-inch barrel, the 20, and I think you even got a 22-inch barrel for it.
Yeah, you got a 20-inch barrel on yours, correct?
No, I got a 16.
Oh, you went with a 16. I thought you said you went with a 20.
No.
Which?
I'd rather have the 16. I think it's a lot more manageable.
That's what I would prefer is the 16. I know a lot of like special forces and stuff like that are actually moving to a 14-inch barrel, but I think a 16 is a good all-around one.
Isn't it funny that you could have a 16-inch barrel on something that can shoot, let's just say, quite accurately at 300 yards, but you can't have a shotgun below 18 and a half inches?
Yeah, it's really stupid. Actually, it's 18. Actually, it's 18 because if you go out and get a Mossberg, they're at 18 and a quarter.
Right.
They keep an extra quarter inch just to make sure they're above legal. Which is funny about my shotgun story that I told you about when I bought it with my best friend in college. I went to a pawn shop in North Carolina. I got this nice old Sears Roebuck pump action shotgun. I put it on, I said I want that one. He puts it on the counter. And they sold tools and stuff, and I put a hacksaw right next to it. I cut that barrel down to 14 inches, and then after I got my Mossberg, I was like, I really should probably get rid of this because this is like a federal offense and everything. So somebody had actually tried to break into my house, so I had called the cops to like report it and stuff. And I was like, while you're here, I've got a shotgun that's not necessarily legal, and I'd like to just turn it over to you and stuff. So, I brought it out to him, and he goes, I'm just going to assume that this was passed down through the generations to your family, and this is how you had it. I said, yeah, pretty much.
No, that son of a bitch that tried to break in left it here. I can't stand that.
So yeah. So anyway, but
I
think what?
I was going to tell you this pretty interesting story. I was after I got done shooting, went to the was at the range and went to the gun shop that was there. Some guy laid down $1,500 in cash for a .45 1911. And I was just thinking, I was like, man, for $1,500 you can buy yourself 3 Glocks. I mean, what the fuck? But
yeah.
Well, there's something special about the 1911, and Glock is a little bit overrated, but still at the same time, you're right.
Yeah, I would have gone with it. I like Springfield, to be honest. I like the Springfield.
Yeah. But there's just something different about a 1911. It just feels better. It shoots nice. Here's
something interesting about that guy, though. Guess what ethnic background this gentleman was?
Swahili?
Close. He was of an ethnic nature, if you will, of the surrounding area that I was at.
What the hell does ethnic? Are you saying he was black?
I don't want to come out and say it, but he was ethnic.
Oh my God! You sound like some mamby-pamby racist when you just say he was a black dude. I actually don't see. I'll be honest, Brian. I don't see why that is strange. That a black guy was dropping. Now it would be strange if he had his pants hanging around his ass, and he looked like a gangbanger. And he was getting a 1911 because I would figure he'd be getting a Tech 9 or something like that.
That's my thing, is that he had the tattoos all over him. I mean, he had 2 of his sons there, which is kind of strange, but whatever. I'm not saying this guy was illegal or anything. It didn't fit the description of a normal day in South Florida.
Wait a second. He had 2 kids with him. And just because he has tattoos, he could have been, who knows, he could have been a professional basketball player.
No.
And I'm not trying to be, I'm just saying, that's a little bit judgmental there.
But it is odd for certain ethnic groups to actually spend money on better equipment than others. So I understand what he's saying.
I would have had to see the guy. I mean, to be honest, he was
pretty sweet. That's all.
If I see a white guy with a bunch of tattoos come in, and if he was to drop, $1,500 cash on a 1911 or whatever, I wouldn't think twice about it. I mean, hell, if he was covered in tattoos, maybe he's a tattoo artist, and they deal primarily in cash. So. Hey, you never know. He might have been a tattoo artist. You never know. I don't know. It's and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but because we will talk about Amish Utes and rioting and stuff like that. But just to say, the guy shows up with his kids and stuff, and I don't know. I wouldn't be making an issue of that, to be honest.
I think the only issue is that the 1911 does not shoot well sideways. I think that's the only issue.
Okay, that's pretty funny.
I think that definitely is an issue. Hey, we're well past our time to.
You hold on a second. You never reminded me to tell about my injury.
Oh yeah, well we got involved in other things.
Yes, we did get it.
Tell us briefly about your injury.
So Wednesday night, after our last show, I actually went to bed pretty early, probably within an hour of the end of the show. I'd say I was in bed. I was tired. Now I sleep on my side, and so I've got the pillow and it's kind of not feeling right. So I go to make the adjustment. So I bring my elbow up underneath myself, and as I do that, the skin on my elbow folds over on itself, and I push down to raise myself up. The agony I felt and still feel, as we speak now, like I think I tore a tendon or something. I don't know what the hell I did, but every time I move my elbow now, it feels as though my elbow, the skin on my elbow is tearing. Like I have a big crease, like embedded in my elbow now.
Yes.
Because I was adjusting a pillow.
Yes. Well, now you may or may not remember, but right around when you had your 40th birthday, what was the one thing I told you?
Oh, stop working out?
Well, not so much stop working out, but you'll find that everything you do from there on in, you will be injured in some way or another, and it becomes permanent. It's not something that you can go and get fixed. You're going to have a limp. The one hand isn't going to work. The elbow won't work. The neck doesn't work the same way. There's all kinds of shit that's just breaking down at this point. That's what this is. It's all wear and tear and breaking down. So
it's actually,
you can go and try and hit the heavy bag, and chances are the more you hit the heavy bag, the more you're going to have problems with your wrists and fingers and hands and arms and shoulders. And you're saying, well, I'll go get an operation. Well, you'll have the operation, and you're going to build up scar tissue, and it's going to hurt like hell anyway. Accept it.
I know that from my shoulder surgery, a year and a half ago. I'm still paying for that one.
Oh, absolutely.
The interesting thing is, in martial arts, on Tuesday we're breaking boards. And
that's going to be good. You're going to be breaking a wrist.
and on Thursday we were going to pick our strike that we were going to do, and I was going to take a guess. I was going to do an elbow to break the damn board with my right elbow, which is now out of commission. So, and I can't do a punch because I can't extend my arm. So I'm having to do a kick, which is great for my arthritis, but that just affects sideways. But
the one thing that you should probably do, because it's really not going to affect anything that you're going to use daily, is why don't you do a headbutt?
Yeah, we actually joked about that in martial arts on Thursday. So no, I'm going to do a kick. I have a very strong kick. I'm confident in that. In fact, as soon as I was kicking the pads, he was like, "All right, you're not going to have any problem with it." But I mean, I wanted to do an elbow. And I'm like, he's like, "Well, what strike are you picking?" I was like, "Well, I was going to do an elbow." He's like, "Well, obviously you can't do that now." I'm like, yeah.
Now, at your place that you do the martial arts, when you do the breaking boards, is it to break the record?
No, it's just to break a board.
Okay.
It's a 1-inch piece oak.
Okay.
So
right.
it's not going to be.
You know what I'm talking about, where they do like the different, like the board, like the boards.
Oh yeah. No. It's not a competition. It's just part of. I wasn't even aware that this style even broke boards, to be honest. But I know Taekwondo does. I know some styles in Kung Fu do. But I mean, this style originated in China, and then it went to Japan. So it's kind of got a cross between different styles. So I guess that's where it comes from.
Against Godzilla. But did you know that my oldest son, to this day, and this was from 4 years ago, when he was 16, to this day still holds the record at his dojo, which he doesn't go to anymore, for the most broken boards for a teen and for an adult.
For an adult, huh?
Yes. He broke the adult record while trying to break the teen record. So, and not only did he broke it by 4 more boards than the record.
What kind of strike did he use? Did he use a palm strike or?
No, it was a downward side of the hand strike.
Oh, okay.
So, I forget the number. I want to say it was in the 20s.
So was it the side by his thumb?
No, the side by your pinky.
Oh, okay, so it was a chop.
Yeah, like a chop, but a fist chop.
Oh, okay, a hammer fist. A hammer fist.
Hammer.
That's my secondary in case I don't break. Okay, put it this way: if I don't break, I am actually tempted to do both now, because I was like, he was like, everybody's got to pick a secondary in case you don't break it with your primary, which I'm not worried that I'm not going to be able to break it with my primary. And he was like, all right, why don't you do a left-handed hammer fist? And I was like, a left-handed? I was like, my left is like useless. Like, you know, it's good for like doing jabs and grabbing onto people. I was like, that's all I use my left for. You know, but
to try and pretend it's someone else.
I can't even masturbate with my left hand. So I mean, it's pretty much useless. So.
Well, if you would just do us all a favor, you know, when you do this, what night is this going to be?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, okay. So it'll be before our next show. If you would, have someone videotape it, and not so much to see if you're going to break the board and stuff. We want to see what injury and how many bones are going to be broken on this. So, if they can continue on as the paramedics actually come in and take you out, that would really be appreciated. If we can get emergency room footage, that'd be great as well. But really, I want to see this because this is going to be loads of fun. So that being said, we'll be back on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. Well, we're not sure just yet because EJ may have to do it from traction. But either way, we'll have a show. So thanks for listening, everyone. We appreciate everyone stopping by, and thanks for Ken and for stopping by and saying hello, and of course Brian and letting us know about his new Barbie. So until next time, you chicken plucking little stinkers. Good night.
Adios.